Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my top 5 tips and tricks for putting up your Christmas tree. Now, if you follow my channel, you may have seen how I decorated my 2023 Christmas tree. After I had that video up for a couple of weeks, I had a handful of people asking me questions of just how I did it, a little bit more details, just trying to see how they could replicate it. And here we are. So let's get started. I'm going to be putting up my mom's Christmas tree. So her tree is about 6 foot tall, and the color palette is inspired by this winter blue. Some blues, some golds, and silvers, and just kind of trying to give that warm and fuzzy feeling. Tip number 1, always fluff your Christmas tree. I know I've said it before, but it is so important to fluff a Christmas tree. A lot of people will skip this step because, let's be honest, it's tedious and it does hurt sometimes when those branches hit your arms. But this is so important because it gives a sense of where the holes are on the Christmas tree, where the big ornaments need to go, and it just helps you balance out your Christmas tree in general. Tip number 2, use nets to light up your Christmas tree. So, I know the traditional thing, or what we've kind of become accustomed to do, is use single stranded lights to go round and around and around the Christmas tree. And even though that's totally fine, I believe it's more work than is needed. So, if you just buy 2, maybe 3 of these 150 net lights, that should be enough for a Christmas tree. So for my mom's tree, 6 foot tall, I'm doing the front and the back. So I'm using 2 nets. For my tree, 9 foot tall, I also used 2 nets, but I only decorated the front of it since the other half is facing a wall. And let's be honest, I did not decorate that part. Also, if you're reusing lights from a previous year, just make sure to plug them into the wall before putting them on the tree. There's no worse feeling than finishing putting the lights on, trying to plug it up, and then half of the net doesn't work. I don't know what happens from January through November that all of a sudden half of the lights don't work, but it's happened to me before. So double check your lights. Tip number 3, don't be afraid to use ribbon. There are so many people that are afraid to use ribbon. Don't be afraid. There are so many ways to use it. You can use single ribbon, you can layer them, you can use some solid colors, something with a print, maybe some holes. All of these options are really good to give the Christmas tree some texture and some dimension. There are also so many ways to style a ribbon on a Christmas tree. You can do bows, kind of like what I'm doing here right now. You can go straight down. You can spiral around the tree. You can finish your ribbon in a spiral. You can just even leave like a really long spiral from the top to the bottom. Or just even have some small pieces where you just fill in gaps throughout the tree at the end. You'll see me do that later. There are also a bunch of other resources on YouTube and blogs and Pinterest, and just go learn some and you'll see it's actually really fun. Here are a few Christmas trees that I've completed over the years with all sorts of combinations. Some going straight down, some having spirals, zigzags, and layers or no layers. The key is just to have fun. with the colors, the prints, the designs, and just don't be afraid to cut your ribbon. It is one of the least expensive items to replace on your Christmas tree. Now, if you don't like ribbons, there are other ways to give that ribbon type effect. Here are a few examples I found on Pinterest. This one's using the gold leaves in a spiral effect. This one's using some beads, kind of like a garland. And finally, this one's using the red berries to give that effect. Tip number 4, use all sorts of ornaments, not just your traditional round ones. I typically start with my tree topper. I'm not a traditional person that puts a star or a bow on top of the tree. If that's what you like, that's totally fine. Keep doing it and add on. If you want to do what I do, then use poinsettias. I'm using about 3 blue poinsettias, a couple of aged gold, and then I use a handful of picks just to give it a bit of a dimension. Then I add the ribbon. In this case, I'm going to go with a bow type pattern and sporadically place it throughout the tree. Once I was happy with the amount of ribbon on the tree, I moved on to adding the large picks. One thing to keep in mind is that you want to spread these out throughout the tree in an L type pattern. In other words, either down and to the right or up and to the left. Then I step back and I see the tree as a whole to make sure it's balanced out. If I like the way things look, I add on the ornaments from big to small, looking for some large holes to cover up with the big ornaments and then filling up those smaller places with the small ornaments. Now, for the small ornaments, I do like to make clusters. I typically do sets of 3 ornaments, but you can make them from 2, 4, 5. It all depends on what you like. You can see that I mix and match different colors of blue. I'm using some royal blues, some baby blue, even turquoise with all sorts of textures. Some are matte, some are shiny, some have glitter, some have patterns. This all helps visually give some dimension and volume to your tree itself. By the way, you can always go back and add ribbon or picks or ornaments wherever you see fit. I ended up adding some small strands of silver ribbon throughout the entire tree because I felt it needed a little bit more silver to balance the colors out. Once you feel like it's nice and full and you like what you see, ornaments are done. Tip number 5, use blankets as a tree skirt. There are all sorts of tree skirts out there. Some have a rustic look like this box or a metal, and some have like a basket type look. There are also your traditional skirts. But one thing that I like to use is your fluffy, cozy, everyday blanket. It's economical, it's simple, you can layer it, and it looks beautiful as a tree skirt. But bonus! I have one more thing for you guys. You have probably seen the trend of the minimalist, simple, like stick like trees. If you go that route, that's awesome. Just a few things to keep in mind. Make sure to keep it interesting. So, for example, in this picture, there are three different sized trees mixed and matched. You can either get a super fluffy tree like this one, or even super twiggy. So, both extremes work very well. You can get a flock tree or a pre lit twig tree. Again, very extreme. At the end of the day, no matter how minimalist your style may be, just make sure to keep it fun and visually interesting to the eye. As for my mom's Christmas tree, this is how it ended up looking. If you guys haven't seen how I put up my Christmas tree, I'll make sure to add a link of that in the description below. I hope these tips help you put up your Christmas tree this year. And if you like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe to my channel, as well as share it with your friends and family. Until next time, here at Angie's Crafts Furniture Renovation. Bye, guys.